It is over. It's finally over. The awful season has come to an end for Manchester United in the Premier League with a 2-0 win over Brighton. Always nice to end it with a win and a clean sheet. But Brighton probably should have got something out of that game if you're just basing it off the first half. I thought it was a far better team. When you put things into perspective, we finished our lowest ever in 8th position. We had the worst Champions League campaign ever. We got knocked out of the Carabao Cup early. And the only kind of shining light is the FA Cup, which has kind of been looming for a little while. That is a tough game in itself. It's not guaranteed that we're going to go and win that. Tanag keeps referencing it, but what's to say, we're going to go get the job done. I hope we do, of course. But look, today is about the last game of the Premier League. Lots of drama. Well, I say lots of drama. There wasn't lots of drama. I'm absolutely talking out my ass. You kind of knew everything that was going to happen already, which is a little bit disappointing. You always want that last day drama. I know City could have lost to West Ham and Arsenal could have won, but the way City are, I don't think they've lost in the league since December to Aston Villa, I think. 1-0. So, yeah, look, for the final time, let's do the negatives first. This is a live pros and cons for anyone who's tuning in, or if you're on TikTok, you might not have the kind of graphics that'll be on the screen on YouTube. So if you want to head over to YouTube, come and check us out over there. But yeah, for the final time, a little bit sad, at least for this season in the league. This is your pros and cons. I'm going to kick things off, as always, with the negatives, and we shall end on the positives, because there are a few I want to get into. Let me just pull up the YouTube chat before I do dive into that, because I don't want to neglect you guys. Pull that chat up. Yeah, sorted. Right, so what do you think I'm going to go with the first kind of negative? Bosh. First half, awful. Absolutely awful. We couldn't get the ball off Brighton. They dominated us, and when we did get the ball, we didn't do much with it. Give possession instantly. In the first 45 minutes, 2 big chances created from Brighton, 10 shots, 59% possession, and 334 passes. In a team this ain't no like prime Brighton team. They didn't have Estepinian on the wing, and they didn't have fucking a load of other players who were injured. I say on the wing, as a wing back. But you take my point. They had their own kind of injury concerns, and he still caused us a lot of problems, especially João Pedro, who we were speaking about in the preview, saying, this kid is, he when he gets on the ball, if he wants, he can drift in certain areas, and he can really, really cause problems. So, yeah, doesn't bode well when you're due to play Man City in the FA Cup final, who, like I said, haven't lost in the league since December. They are the absolute best at keeping the ball and keeping it ticking over. And then when they do lose it, they're the absolute best at winning it back defensively, and the way they press, they're incredible. So, look, if you think that was difficult against Brighton, if City, turn up, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle. And if they smell blood, they'll absolutely write you off. So I'm telling you, in this game, going into the FA Cup final, we need to be ruthless, and we need to play like a fucking team. Otherwise, we're giving ourselves no chance at winning it. But let me know what you think. Next up on the negatives, terrible season, a shocking season overall. Probably the worst ever, or at least the worst since I've been alive that I can remember. Sorry, I pull up the thing there. Regardless, if you win the FA Cup, in my opinion, and again, this divides people. I was speaking to a couple of people in chat when I put the video out before, and they was like, I'd take 8th and then FA Cup. To be honest, I think if you would have said to the majority of fans before the season, after you've just won a Carabao Cup and finished 3rd, would you take 8th and a cup? And they would have gone, shut up, what are you on about? We want to start pushing for the title. We want to do well in Champions League. I think they would have said, and we want to win a cup. I think the majority of people would have said that, right? It's just that the luck has felt so bad, especially with the injuries. As soon as one player came back, it was like, right, the next one's out. Luke Shaw and Malacia effectively being out for the full season. Lisandro Martinez effectively being out for the full season. Varane in and out. Maguire in and out. Johnny Evans in and out. Dallo Onana has been the only consistent in that back line. The midfield's chopping and changing more times than anything I've seen. The front three, again, has been trying to find that right balance. I feel like the best balance that we had was Garnacho on the right, Rashford on the left, and then Højlund up top. But yeah, we had a period, I think it was like April for 2 weeks where we played Brentford, Chelsea, Bournemouth, and them games, my God, that was like, when you look to a point in the season where, you know, if you're trying to fight for Champions League or whatever your ambitions are, if you have a run of results like that, it can affect it significantly. So the work that needs doing to get us back competing near the top, when you look, we're like 30 odd points off it's a lot. It's a lot. And we are obviously going to cover a lot of the stuff going into this summer, what Ineos are going to do, what kind of players we feel like they're going to go for, and all that kind of stuff. We've got a full summer to discuss that, so I don't want to go too much in depth, but it has been an absolute shocking season. There's no two ways about it. Balance. We need to find a balance in this team. Who are the best options? Erik ten Hag said, on Thursday, I think it was, we will put out a lineup what is strong and the strongest we have, but at the same time, we have to find the right balance. That we also tried to bring players returning from injury back on the pitch. That's what we said on Thursday afternoon, a few days before the game. Rashford and Højlund rested, whilst Martinez obviously got his first start. You can see Ten Hag trying to kind of maximise minutes and rest in order to prepare for this FA Cup final. Who's going to be fit enough? Would you throw Leitcher and Varane in together? Yes, they've played together before, but have they played together this season? Maybe once or twice. Would you trust that? Would it not be a little bit rusty? Is Varane fit enough to play 90 minutes? We know Martinez is, because he started in the last game. Do you play Højlund from the start, or do you play Bruno as a false nine? Because we've won the past 2 games when doing that. So do you stick with a similar system and bring him off the bench? Very, very tough decisions to make for the manager. But you tell me what you think right now, based on current form. Who needs to start that FA Cup final for Manchester United? Based on current form, who would you put into that team? Let me know, and I'll read out some comments now before I get into the last negative that I want to discuss, and kind of ties in with what we've just been talking about. Right, let's go to the YouTube. Alexander Cortels in the chat saying, did you see Casado's goal? I did, from the halfway line. Phenomenal. Didn't beat Garnacho's goal of the season. Dan Errington, with De Zerbi leaving, do you think Man United might go in for him? Sorry, a long pause. I don't think so. I don't think we'll go for De Zerbi. I'd be very, very surprised if tonight we finish the FA Cup final, whatever happens, we win or we lose, and they announce that United are bringing in De Zerbi. I don't see him doing it. But again, stranger things have happened at this club before. If it meant Casemiro wasn't at centre back, I'd risk Varane and Martinez together. Yeah, it's a good point. When we moved into the midfield yesterday, I mean, I'll discuss Casemiro shortly, but I thought when he moved back into the midfield yesterday, he was really, really good. So, yeah. Sean saying Anthony at left wing back would be a sucker for control, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're just going to play Dalot there. I'm all right with Dalot there. Like, when we was doing that experiment with Wan-Bissaka at left back, I'm like, no, get him back over on that side because he's way too uncomfortable. I know we lose something on the right, but you watched Dalot yesterday. I thought Dalot was fantastic. And again, Dalot I'm going to discuss shortly as well. Lucky Singh with his transfer targets in the chat saying Zubimendi, Todibo, Bournemouth midfielder, Xerxes, I think he's alluding to, or the left midfielder. I think Aaron mentioned him actually when we was chatting about him. Right, the last negative. Rashford, dilemma. What do we do with Marcus Rashford? And I'm not just alluding to the final. In general. Jaden saying Ten Hag in or out. I mean, that's a very long-winded answer. I mean, I'll get into that towards the end, I suppose. But yeah, for anyone who's watching live on TikTok, obviously you won't be able to see the graphics because they are on YouTube. So if you want to join us on YouTube, become part of the community, we're on 5,051 subscribers at the minute. We're on the road to 10k. So any United fans or even football fans in general in the chat, make sure you come and join us. The link is in the description for that. But yeah, the Marcus Rashford dilemma. If you're Ahmad or Garnacho, you are extremely unlucky not to start the final because both of them two, Garnacho more so in the recent game, he's been a little bit off before that, but he was the main threat in the last game. Ahmad's been fantastic since he's come into the team. He's really performed. So if none of them start, if one of them don't start, it's I disagree with it. But knowing how the manager is with Rashford, he's probably going to start him. You look at Rashford's record against the top 6. Obviously, he scored against City in the last game as well, that absolute rocket. And he kind of offers that pace in behind that nobody else does. I know Garnacho's quick, but Rashford's, in terms of the running and the timing of getting in behind the defence, he's very, very good in that. So, will Erik ten Hag put faith in Marcus Rashford again? Can he turn his form from last season into one game to go and win a trophy? What do we think? Jaden saying, I haven't paid £650 to watch Rashford dribble into Walker a few times. Oh, I love that. Very good point. Ahmad has to start Rashford. He's been poor all season. I'm not surprised, but I think, yeah, I think a lot of you are spot on. Dallo for player of the season, says Dan Errington. Hey, I'm going to get into that. You might like what you see in a couple of minutes' time. Alexander Cortel says, sell Rashford. Casado's goal of the season. Nah, it's not better than Garnacho's. I'm sorry. It's not. It's close, but to execute what Garnacho did, and obviously I know the technical quality of Casado's, but we've seen quite a few. I mean, Bruno Fernandes did that against fucking Liverpool. Garnacho's technique, the angle that it was at, I mean, I imagine most pro players will tell you that is, 1 in a million strikes, what Garnacho did against Everton. Definitely goal of the season for me, 100%. Manager sticking with building Rasmus, Højlund, Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno, Ahmad, Dallo. It's not a bad thing to do, though. So, yeah, I'll leave the negatives there. Let me know what you think about Marcus Rashford, whether you'd start him or not in the final, or would you start Ahmad and Garnacho? Or just give us your front three, in general. Who would you start? Let me know. Smash a like on the TikTok as well if you can. Let's get some more people involved in this, because we're going to dive in to the positives. Rasmus Højlund is a gem. In my opinion, he is an absolute gem. Starting to find the back of the net again. 16 goals and 2 assists in all comps. In the debut season isn't bad at all. I think there's a serious issue with the wingers. We were just talking about the front three there. We don't have creative wingers. It's not something that you all know it. It's not. I'm not telling you something new that you've never heard before. Like, oh, Rashford doesn't pass. Garnacho doesn't pass. What? Are you joking? Antony doesn't pass. He shoots all the time. No, you know this situation. So he has struggled with service. That is something that is, when people start talking about him like, oh, he's a shit striker, he's a flop or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He gets no service whatsoever. And again, you all know this situation. I think when facing the goal and running at players is top level, but needs to improve with his back to the goal. I think that's a fair assessment. You look at him physically, mad running power into the channels or in behind, 2-footed finishing as well, which is, I was surprised. I did think he was very one-footed when he first came in, and he presses very well. He works extremely hard off the ball. He's got an engine, which a lot of people don't talk about. But like I said, there are things to work with Rasmus Højlund. I'm not completely blind. Loose touch, kind of link-up play. Back to the goal, like I referenced before, seems to stick to his defender too much. Lack of anticipation in key areas, and movement can be worked on as well. But it is, United are a very dysfunctional team this season, so it's hard to blame him. Like Jaden says there, 15 plus goals in his first season. It's a good return. He's saying he'll be world class coming from Italy to England is a massive change, and I absolutely agree with that. A lot of people were very quick to write him off. He had a very poor patch over it was not March, January, February, March, April, I want to say. Didn't score in like 10 games, but when he gets going, he's good. You saw something straight away in the Champions League group stage, top scorer in Europe in the group stages alone, and the goal that he scored against Galatasaray where he ran from the halfway line and then the composure to dink it. There is definitely a player there, but next season we need to create more common patterns across the team around the penalty area and have clearer overall objectives in the game to support Rasmus. He's just getting started. The foundations are there. Make sure you build on him. Make sure you surround him with the right players. And I'm telling you, and I've said it a million times, that money that we spend, that everyone's saying that's way too expensive and blah, 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 will look like a bargain because he's 21 years old. It's his first season at Manchester United. Give the kid a fucking break, man. You know what I mean? Give the kid a break. It'll be good. I'm sure of it. Next positive. Who mentioned Dallo in the chat before? Was it Dan Errington? Dallo player of the season. Now, we have our end of season rewards coming up maybe tonight. I've got to double check with the lads. We're either going to do it tonight or we're going to do it tomorrow night. And I'm just going to go early with this. You know, I mentioned it on the clip I did on TikTok and YouTube yesterday. But in a season full of inconsistencies, Diego Dalot has been a constant performer. He's been really, really good. Took his goal well, was causing problems all over the pitch yesterday, overloading in certain areas. You know, works extremely hard, applies himself correctly. You hear from other people, people at the club speak about him, the way he trains, the way he kind of is effective either side, whichever way you put him a left back, you put him a right back, you put him anywhere on the pitch, and he can affect the game. He brushes off well on the play. He's got captain kind of. He sets an example as he's not a captain, but he sets an example like he is. Do you know what I mean? Like he commits every single day, and that's what I like about him. You think as well, if he would have got injured, think about the injury curse this season. If Dalot would have got injured, my God, we really would have been fucked. You think about the improvement that he's made as well. Last season, 1v1 at times was shocking. Back post defending was extremely questionable. Even earlier this season, I would probably say in some of the early Champions League games. But like I said, he's been top and been when you just talk about players of the season, let's say Mainu comes into it, for example. He's only played, I think, 20 games, Mainu, or 21 games. So he's not played like a full season because obviously he had the injury at the start. Garnacho has played a lot of games, but he kind of really fizzed out towards the end. Dalot's been consistent throughout. He's rarely dropped his levels, in my opinion. Still only 25 years old as well, so not even technically in his prime at the minute. I like him. I like Diego Dalot, and I think Jose Mourinho's words will ring loud. I remember that press conference that he did saying he'll be, United's next Gary Neville. Obviously, in terms of trophies, probably won't achieve what Gary Neville's achieved, but ability-wise, he's getting there. He's getting there. I'm a fan of him. Had to start Rasmus, Garnacho, and Diallo. Rashford come off the bench, could be a good sub. I don't think Ten Hag's going to do it though. I do not think Ten Hag is going to do it. I think he's just going to start him. I just know what he's like. Dalot came alive in the second half of the season, says Shreyas. There's a lot more to come from him. I agree. Like I said, you could do a lot worse than just keeping Dalot as your right back for next season. I think we've got a lot more areas to prioritise, in my opinion. Right, the next positive. The Argentina. Throughout the game, Garnacho individually was the constant threat. Like I said, starting his 37th game in a row consecutively, which is a lot of football for a 19-year-old kid. But he's fearless. He keeps going. He was causing problems on that left-hand side, 100%. Martinez, first start back from injury, looked solid. Minutes were very, very much needed before the final, and he just seemed to kind of slip in there seamlessly, and it fits right in. There's no doubt he's one of our most important players. I want to see him getting on the ball a little bit more. There was a couple of nice passes that he did, but take that authority, help in that first phase build-up, which is so fantastic at, and let's see how he performs it, for a full 90 minutes. Let's pray he doesn't get another injury. Please, I pray to the God that he stays fit now for the foreseeable. But one can only hope. Obviously, going to start in the FA Cup final, mega important, and I can't wait to see if it's going to be him and Varane there as well. Next up, the last positive we've got to discuss, and I did not think this man would be here after the past couple of games, but he is. It's Casemiro. Casemiro is back. Or at least, especially when he moved into midfield, I thought he looked really, really good for the last 25 minutes. The guy's had to play 7 games at centre-back. He's only played there 2 or 3 times for Real Madrid. Obviously, looked a little bit concerned there. Didn't really like it. But I actually thought he had a really good game. Even before he went into midfield, I thought he was pretty good. You look at his stats as well. 5 clearances, including 1 off the line, 5 block shots, 1 interception, 6 tackles, 52 out of 58 passes complete, 90% accuracy, pass accuracy, 6 out of 10 long balls, 7 out of 11 ground duels won. That is phenomenal. That is really, really good stats. I know some people aren't stat people and it's about the eye test or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think he was good. I still think we should sell him in the summer. I still think, Saudi come in with a 30, 40 million bid. Definitely sell him. I'm not going to look at that one performance and say keep him next season. The one thing I'm kind of conflicted with is, though, you get rid of Casemiro, we have no natural 6s at the club. None. Now, obviously, you would imagine Man United are going to go buy one. I know Kobe can play there, but you don't want it. You want Kobe more progressive and more advanced, where he's in terms of his press resistance, how we can beat a man, how we can pick out a pass, even his finishing as well, which you saw from the area against Wolves. Cobby's better as an 8. So who do you go and get as your number 6? That's the big question. Who's going to fit there? And do you go and need to buy 2? Because if that one gets injured, then you're back to playing McTominay again. So a lot of options for Ineos, Wilcox, Ashworth, all these guys to consider when Ashworth does get in. Sorry, I missed that chat there. Mainu, McTominay, Bruno has to be the midfield 3 on Saturday. Very interesting. Rashford getting some motivation from Eric Ten Hag. Mainu, Casemiro, Bruno midfield, Varane, Martinez in defence. I don't care, just sell Rashford, please. Rash saying I agree. Interesting. So yeah, Casemiro was really, really good. I think he'll probably start in the final, having scored in the Carabao Cup final. His experience as well. There's no way Eric Ten Hag doesn't start him in that midfield. I'll give you. We're going to do predicted lineups. On Wednesday, we'll probably do the preview for the final. We'll get a few of the lads on for that. But if I was to hazard a guess now, I think it'd probably be Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lisandro, Dalot, Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno, Garnacho, Højlund, Rashford. I think that's going to be the starting 11 in the final. But there could be a few surprises. Maybe Ahmad will be thrown in there. I think Amrabat played himself out of the final yesterday. 100% played. I thought in the game against Newcastle and Arsenal, he was really good. But yesterday, my God, the amount of times he got his pocket picked by Brighton players was just like, yeah, he ain't got the tempo. And City, like I said, when they press off the ball, they are fucking relentless. Absolutely relentless. So you can't have him playing in a game like that, in my opinion. But yeah, look, my take would be fantastic if we can win an FA Cup over our direct rivals. We lost last season. We're still feeling the pain from that. And I think for what the fans have had to endure for a year straight of just nonsense and injury curse and pathetic performances at times, I think we definitely deserve a trophy, especially for them away fans as well. You know, I suppose the silver lining is, if we look into it, we have got a full summer to get things right under a proper structure. We have some amazing young talents, and it's not all doom and gloom. You know, it feels it. 8th position, terrible. I'm not masking that up. You know, Sam famously says you can't write on a pig in lipstick swan and push it out into the lake and expect people to be like, wow. You know, it's shit. It's been shit. You can't sugarcoat it. It's been shocking. But if you can win a trophy, you know, you can get the recruitment right in the summer. You might not be too far behind. You know, you're not going to be challenged for the league title, but you can definitely push back up into that top 4. But again, that's going to be super competitive as well because, you know, Chelsea look like they're starting to cook under Poch now. Aston Villa are doing fantastic under Unai Emery. They're obviously going to invest in him, you know, invest in the squad, should I say, for Europe. Arsenal are going to be there or thereabouts again. The age profile of their squad's fantastic. Man City are just a juggernaut. They'll probably win the league again next season and win the FA Cup again next season. Like, they've got so many young, talented players. You look at Alvarez, Foden, Erling Haaland, Gvardiol. I mean, you could literally go through it. Doku's fucking fantastic as well. So it's going to be mega, mega competitive, and it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. So obviously, I'm not expecting anything near the title charge next season. But if you can start to push into that top 4, start building on it, and Ineos, I'm hoping get it right. I hope they get, you know, everything right upstairs, and then we can kind of take it from there then. And that starts with, like I said, the recruitment and bringing in certain players. I'm going to discuss that in a moment in terms of the latest transfer links, so make sure you do stick around for that. I really hope Lisandro can work on his injuries for his future. Yeah, let's pray he stays fit. What's going to be the future for Amrabat? Straight back to Fiorentina, in my opinion. The other day I was saying maybe consider it, but not after that. No chance. Very mixed opinions at the moment. Jadon Sancho sell imminent, says Lucky Singh. Too inconsistent, but yet been one of our best players over the past 5 years. Mentality is the aim of this. Need a new manager firstly, says Jadon Sancho. Ironic. Jadon, is that you? Sell most of them if you're asking me. Crap squad. I get what you're saying, but it's not realistic, is it? It's not FIFA mode. You can't just get rid of players, like get rid of 15 players and then bring in, you know, just a load of new ones. Doesn't work like that. It's not going to happen. You know, maybe they'll get rid of, maybe Wan-Bissaka will go, right? Varane's definitely leaving. I don't think they're going to sell Luke Shaw and Malacia, in my opinion. Maybe Casemiro goes to Saudi. I don't think they sell McTominay. I think they'll keep him as a squad player. They're not going to sell Mount first season at the club. Horrific injuries. You know, you start going through the squad, and they're not going to sell everyone. You know, and they can't afford to sell everyone. They can't. As much like certain players, if they're injury prone, I think we should offload them. I agree, because we cannot. One thing we cannot do is have another season like this year. You know, the best ability is availability, and that has never been more true when you look at this season. And even for other teams as well, you know, people are complaining about the way Erik ten Hag trains the players, and they don't like it, and it's too much. And you know, when you do look at the injuries, it's true. In terms of muscle injuries, they've picked up quite a lot, but the intensity of the league, the level, I mean, ten Hag said this in a video before. Look, Garnacho hasn't got injured. Bruno's had a very small injury. Dallow's not been injured. So is it a case of you need more robust, physically demanding players who are able to deal with the workload, or do you need to reduce the training slightly? Like, again, there is so much. When you open the book of the 2024 summer for Man United, there are so many things that we need to do, that needs to be spot on, that we need to get right, even just to be back in top 4 contention again. Because finishing 8th in the league is shocking. Whether Ineos decide to get rid of the manager and bring someone in, they need to make that decision, because he's got, I think, like 12 months left on his deal, ten Hag. So you either commit, say he's the man, we want to work with him under this new Ineos umbrella, or you go, no, thanks Erik for whatever you did in the FA Cup final, but we've got a certain guy who we think can do a fantastic job here, and there's a certain way we want to work, so we're going to go with that option, but we wish you the very best in the rest of your managerial career. Will they do that? I don't know. Get some comments in, smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel on 50,000, and I fucking wish. 5,051 subs, or 49 or 5,100. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, if you're watching this live or watching this later on, make sure you do tune in. Sorry, I'm just writing this down. Also as well, the video I mentioned over the weekend, I was supposed to drop it yesterday, but with the timing and editing, it was like very long-winded. So I've done a video on 5 replacements for Raphael Varane, some of your favourite centre-backs or young prospects might be in there. So make sure you check that out. The members are going to get 2 days early access to that. So that's going to drop around 4 o'clock, I'd probably say. So turn on the notification bell so you don't miss when it does drop. Very, very good video. The longest one we've done, I think, on this channel. As like a members video. So yeah, let us know what you think about that. Any feedback, give us your list of options as well, who you would go and get, and maybe a couple are already on there as well, and then we'll drop for the public in probably on Wednesday, I think, depending on timing and previews and stuff. So yeah, do let me know what you think about that. Yeah, Lissandro and Shaw would have changed our season completely, Shreyas. If you do an all, you can eat Greg's sausage rolls in an hour with any sauce, you'll hit 50k sooner. I promise you right now, Sean, if that was true, I would walk to Greg's, which is probably about a 20-minute walk from here. I would go and get one, and I would go and do that 100%. So if you can make that happen, you let me know. Do you really think Ancelotti would leave Madrid for us? No. I don't. Oh, right. Are you asking Marky Mark that? I don't know. Yeah. No, I personally wouldn't. Not a chance. He wouldn't leave Madrid for United. Kingsman saying sell Sancho and Rashford. Shaw be playing a quarter season. Keep Scotty, keep Luke Shaw. Interesting. Look, like I said, we've got a video dropping for the members at 4 o'clock. So if you want to be a member, make sure you click that join button next to the notification bell, or just click the link in the description. And we've also got the end of season awards. So player of the season, goal of the season. I think we all know where that's going to go. Worst moment, best moment, all that kind of stuff we're going to get into. And there's going to be quite a few of us on tonight. So yeah, going to be really fun. Make sure you come and join us. Enjoy the rest of your day. United won their last home game of the season, won the last away game of the season, which we haven't been able to say at Brighton, have we, before? So I will absolutely take that. But roll on the FA Cup final. Let's go and smash City, man. Not going to happen, probably, but it's nice to dream in it, I suppose. Right, I'll leave it at that, guys. Take it easy. I appreciate every single one of you fine fuckers, and I'll see you in the next one. What was your YouTube channel? Real Reds Talk. Links in the description. Just click on it and you'll see us. And let me know what you think, Marky Mark. Take it easy, boys. See you in a